In this video, I'd like to talk about the math question of the day from March 19th, 2023. And with this problem, we are multiplying these two radical expressions together. So to answer a question like this, you will typically see these types of problems in Algebra 1, but it really depends where you might learn this. You might see it earlier, or you might see it in Algebra 2. So at this point, go ahead and pause the video, try to work through this on your own, and when you're ready, unpause the video and we can go through this together. Now, assuming that you have attempted the problem, let's start working through it. And if you do have suggestions for future questions of the day, feel free to leave those as a comment. Now, we have these two binomial expressions, and they have these radicals. But when multiplying two binomials, we want to use distribution. You might remember the FOIL method, but personally, I think it's better just to remember that each of these terms will distribute to both of these terms. So the root 10 goes to the root 10, and the minus root 3, we will multiply, and then the square root of 3 will multiply into both of those. You could, like I mentioned, use the FOIL method. You can memorize multiplying the first ones, the outer ones, the inner ones, and then the last ones. But if this type of expression was ever, let's say, binomial multiplied by a trinomial, if this had three terms, then the FOIL method doesn't work. It fails there. So if you just remember distribution, that will work when you have these factors here that are larger than binomials. They could have 3, 4, 5, or however many terms that you want. So let's carry out that distribution. We multiply root 10 by root 10, or we are squaring that. And then we do root 10 multiplied by minus root 3. So let's just write that out. And then we do plus root 10 multiplied by root 3. So these middle terms here will actually cancel each other out, since you might notice that this is really difference of two squares. But if you don't notice that, that's okay. We can just carry out the multiplication. We have root 3 times by minus root 3, so we have a negative root 3, and we're multiplying it by itself, so we will square that. Now, when we take the square of a square root, they cancel each other out, and we will just get back 10. And like I mentioned, these will cancel each other out. We are adding and subtracting the same thing. And here we again have a square root squared, so those will cancel, and we'll just get back minus 3. So our final answer here is simply 7. Now, like I mentioned, you may have realized that this was a difference of two squares when we have a plus b multiplied by a minus b. Anytime we multiply out an expression like this, or these two factors, we will end up with a squared minus b squared, and those middle terms will always cancel out. Since notice that the outer ones, a times negative b, would be minus ab, and then we add the inner ones, plus ab, they always cancel each other out, and we get back this difference, we are subtracting, of these two squared numbers. So if you notice that, then that might have helped your work, but this type of problem is fairly straightforward to check. If you plug these into the calculator, you will get back 7.